I've dropped my recap video, but in this video chat, I'm gonna be looking at it from a different scope, guys. I didn't watch back the fight fully, but I watched back segments of the fight, and yeah, JDM shook up the UFC world. Maybe not to you guys, but to me definitely. And I'm gonna be transparent here. He surprised me in some aspects, and his win came with some pros and cons and positive and negatives. And we're going to talk about the pros and cons in this video. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give my honest opinion on JDM because I feel like people think I'm being too critical. And I think I am being too critical to a sense, but there's stuff I still want to address about JDM and about Belal Muhammad and about this situation. But first, I want to talk about the pros and the cons because, there are pros to this happening as well as cons. And I remember I'm thinking to myself before the fight, I was like, if somehow JDM beats him, I'm going to feel bad for Belal, but it's going to open up other doors. So let's start off with these pros, guys. You guys obviously know the biggest pro, but first we're going to talk about the pro that Belal haters get their moment. Guys, as a Belal fan, it sucks, chat. It sucks. Trust me, even I woke up today, I can't believe JDM pulled it off. I go on Twitter, I see all the hate and all everyone cooking on Belal. Belal finally had an entertaining fight, but, bro said finally. Belal had an entertaining fight. But I knew the people who hate on Belal are going to still find the moment to just shit on him, and they're doing it. And listen, you got to respect it, chat. You got to respect it because it goes both ways, man. I had my moments with Anka Lav. I had my moments with, Morab and Sugar fight. I've had my great moments. Belal Leon, so I know how they feel. I don't really hate watch. I usually have my moments when my favorite fighter wins. When a fighter loses that I don't like, even when Pereira lost, I kind of felt bad. And I wasn't really coming out Pereira, but I always cook his fans. But Belal haters legitimately hate Belal, probably just for whatever reason they do. So they're having a field day, and you gotta respect it, chat. You gotta, like I said, I don't feel offended. I'm not like, oh fuck, dude. Nah, they deserve it, man. And I feel as if they're gonna enjoy this win. They're gonna embrace it as they should. That's their job. I feel like, but they're having their moment. Let them have it. I see them tweeting. Listen, they can say what they want, brother. It's their win. Not their win, but they're haters, and that's what haters are gonna do now. Another pro is for the welterweight division. This is free game for many welterweights. I've seen Ian Gary already dropping a post. Sean Brady salivating out the mouth. Usman is now thinking, oh shit, I could become champion again. It's just that stylistically, JDM is no offense to him. He's a great fighter, very talented, very tough, very solid. But stylistically, he's a better matchup for a lot of these other guys in contrast to what Belal would have been to them or what people expected Belal to be to them. It's just that JDM's really good coming forward. That's what he does the best. And yeah, I've said that. He does great work coming forward. And he's a good boxer, Wrestling a little bit, Of course, Belal didn't wrestle much for the first two rounds for whatever reason. He started wrestling a little bit late, but even his wrestling was very labored and it wasn't good entries at that point. But yeah, Belal tried to wrestle. JDM showed improved takedown defense. He still got taken out, of course, because he's always going to get taken out probably every fight he fights and someone who tries to. But he showed great takedown defense and great improvement. JDM looked impressive. But, Buckley's already tweeting out, Usman's salivating, Sean Brady, Ian Gary piping up. I'm sure Shavkat is just having a field day, And it's just and it's respect to JDM, he earned it. But of course, it's free game to many welterweights, and many welterweights believe now they're going to be the new champion. But the biggest pro, in my opinion, of course, is Islam Makhachev becoming double champ now. I believe Islam's going to win. But the thing about this situation is, after Belal wins, people are going to just be like, Belal and Islam are the same fighter, so if JDM beats Belal, he's going to be Islam. That's how shit's going to work. So I know saying Islam is going to win is going to be the unpopular opinion right now, and I understand. I'm sure the odds aren't going to reflect that. They're probably going to still make Islam the favorite, but I hope the odds are thinking what you guys are thinking, and I hope it goes down that way. Listen, JDM's a fantastic striker. Belal striking, Belal having a lot of moments on JDM is just it's not a bad look for JDM because I think Belal can strike, but, Belal's just very unique with his striking. I just think his striking is, I don't want to say funny, but it's just very interesting. And I just feel JDM having a lot of success on Belal in the striking. I'm sure Ian Gary believes he could have a lot of success on JDM. I'm sure Buckley believes he could land some shots on JDM. JDM's not necessarily hard to hit. It kind of comes from him throwing those wide looping punches, which it's so easy to hit him in the face, especially with straight punches especially when you're pushing him on the back foot. Like I said in my video, JDM can't counter out the back foot, and he proved it today. Oh, we're going to talk about that later, but he proved it today. People are going to keep no, he was destroying Belal. No, on the back foot, bro, I swear, Belal was lunging in, and there was so many times that if a good counterpuncher, you guys know Sugar Sean O'Malley leans back and steps on it, like he did to Aljo, sleeps him. If JDM had any ounce of that, he would have slept Belal. Because, chat, there's sometimes Belal was jumping into, that fray so sporadically and goofy. I'm like, dude, Belal's going to get chinned. But JDM doesn't really react when someone's pressuring him. He kind of just shells up, and then he waits for you to throw, and then he would throw afterwards. So, yeah, JDM, when he's coming forward, he's doing great work against Belal, but his counter-punching ability is very, yeah. So, yeah, Islam, I think Islam becomes double champ. These are pros, chat. These are all pros. It's a pro for the Belal haters and JDM fans because you saw Belal lose. You saw JDM become champ. It's a pro for the welterweight division because they're saying, oh, shit, free game. And it's a pro for Islam Makhachev, who is now not going to fight somebody at 155 and going to go up to 170 now. Those are the pros. Now, what's the cons? Of course, we're probably never going to get support in Islam, or it's going to be less likely. And I know people are going to be like, but Kenny, is this going to be Ilya versus Charles? Ilya's going to knock out Charles. Islam's going to beat JDM. Then we're going to get a big fight. Cool. Chat, I'll be real. That's like roses and bubbles. That sounds like roses and bubbles. I don't think we're getting this fight. Some fights are just not meant to be. I feel like it's one of those fights because the way the whole thing played out, it's just the fact that Belal didn't win. I just feel like it's just not meant to happen. Some things are just not meant to be. This might be one of those things. And then the Islam haters are already saying he's ducking now. And it's like, dude, did we not understand this going into the fight that this was going to decide it? How does that make him a duck? But I get it. Like, they're always, oh, he's ducking because he should. But I understood, like, no matter what, they're going to call Islam a duck. But now the narrative is going to continue. You can't really do much. I just think it's a con for an Islam fan, at least, because it gets annoying. Now he's going to be a duck because he's trying to chase his dream of becoming double champ. He was supposed to do that before Belal became champion. Belal halted his dreams. So after Belal loses, of course, Islam's going to try to go up and become double champ. But people with common sense don't really comprehend that and understand that. So they're going to result in saying, oh, Ilya's just ducking Islam this time the third. Cool. And some other con that kind of irks me, but is going to get a lot of people happy, Charles getting an undeserved title shot over Arman Sarukian. I think Arman Sarukian should fight Ilya Taporia for the vacant or interim title. Why are we... Like, Arman's last win is Charles. I know Charles' last win is Michael Chandler, and it's impossible to beat Michael Chandler, and Michael Chandler would never lose to anyone. But I think if we're going to give it to someone who beats Michael Chandler, I think Paddy Pimblett deserves a little bit more. And I think Paddy Pimblett and Ilya Taporia actually sells more. And I feel like Paddy Pimblett has the second longest win streak in lightweight right now. So common sense points to, if we're going to reward someone on a win streak and who beat Michael Chandler, let's go with Paddy Pimblett. And if you don't like that and you're like, no, Kenny, that's not fair. Michael Chandler sucks. So why is Charles fighting him? Oh, well, I think Charles is cooler. Arman Sarukian should realistically get it. The UFC does not like Arman Sarukian. It's kind of obvious. They think he's a radio sad man, bro. Because it's like he's over here booking grappling matches and then like fucking... he's just great. It's just, what even is going on, man? It's just stupid. Charles does not deserve to be in this position. And I know Charles haters are going to come in this video like, you're hating, bro. You're just being mean. Like, okay, I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't think Charles deserves to be in this title shot picture. If you could explain to me why Paddy doesn't deserve it more or why Arman doesn't deserve it more, I'll agree with you. But until then, I think Arman deserves it more. And if we're going to give it to someone who's beating Michael Chandler, give it to the guy who finished Michael Chandler. This is my opinion. And who's on the longer win streak. This is my opinion. So Charles is getting an undeserved shot because Dana White privilege. Kind of how Sugar Sean O'Malley's getting the Marab fight title shot. It's just BS. It's just like stupid. But that's how the UFC works. I think this is a con. Like I said, people are going to see it as a pro. I see it as annoying. The company just being stupid. And then I said the interim title fight is going to probably headline 317. Or worst of all, this is going to be a co-main event. And the headline is going to be Kai Kara-France versus Alexandre Pantoja, which is not really a con, but it's just like name value-wise. You're probably not going to put an interim title fight for a headliner. This is what I think. Maybe they're going to headline with an interim title, but I feel like it's a smack in the face of the flyweights. But it's not going to be a vacant title because Islam said he's not vacating. It doesn't make sense for Islam to vacate because the only reason Ilya vacated because he told Dana White, I'm physically incapable of making 145. So you guys are trying to say Islam should vacate. If Islam's physically incapable of making 155, then yes, he should vacate. But he's never said that. He's going to go back down. I think he's going to become double champ. Maybe go back down, fight Ilya, and then retire. This is what I think Islam's going to do. And, bro, Islam's career, dude, I am happy for Islam. I can't lie, because he's becoming double champ. Everything happens for a reason. It was Islam's moment, brother, Inshallah, a wise man once said. So, yeah, it's just interesting. I just feel like these cons are a little bit more significant than the pros, but it is what it is. Now, lastly, I want to talk about my honest takeaway from the JDM Belal fight, because I can't hold it in. I got to be honest, dude. I got to be honest. These are the takeaways. First of all, JDM did win the fight. Like I said, I watched back the fight a little bit. The first round, I thought Belal could have won. Watching it back, I understood why JDM won. JDM played more to his game. Yes, Belal was landing some shots, and with like his volume and his output was a little bit more. His output was more, but a lot of the shots are just kind of grazing, brushing shots. And it kind of goes back to Belal's fight style. Even against Leon, chat, he was landing on Leon, but he wasn't really hurting Leon significantly. Yeah, Leon's head was snapped back, but when he's doing that, then he shoots into a takedown. Belal just doesn't have the striking style to be able to probably outpoint a striker. He did win rounds 3 and 4 pretty clearly, watching it back, off of just output and volume. But that was kind of because he was like almost breaking JDM a little bit, and JDM just doesn't do well off the back foot. So when he was backing up JDM against the fence, JDM was kind of shelling up, and then Belal would unload on him. But overall, stupid fight style. And I said Belal fought with ego and poor fight IQ. I don't care what people say. I really believe Belal, like, the whole time in the press conference, he was saying, I'm going to go in there. I'm not going to shoot a takedown. I'm going to outstrike him, like Canelo hands. I think he actually meant that. And I know it sounds like weird, like, oh, obviously he meant that. Why would he not mean that? Dude, Jan Blachowicz said, I'm not going to shoot a single takedown to Pereira. He shot the first 20 seconds. Ankalaev said, I'm not going to wrestle. He obviously mixed in stuff, against the clinch, which Belal should have done. There's just like, I see stuff, chat, where people say things and I just don't take them seriously. I really believe Belal fought with ego, which is kind of dumb to do at a championship level. I'm really disappointed in Belal's performance, and just poor fight IQ. And I remember, it takes me back to the Leon Edwards 1 fight. I remember Leon Edwards 1. He was fighting off the back foot because he was like hesitant. And I remember Leon looked so much better. When Belal gives strikers respect, he looks so bad. He looks not bad, but he looks sporadic and like uncomfortable. Like he was giving Leon so much respect in the first fight before the eye poke. And I just remember Leon just head kicking him, unloading on him against the fence. And Belal was kind of just always moving so sporadic. I'm like, damn, you just don't look comfortable when you're on the back foot. And in the rematch, Belal was like, listen, when I was on the back foot against Leon, he destroyed me. And Leon's not even a great front foot fighter. He's not. You could try to act like he is, but he's not. But he was doing so well on the front foot when Belal gave it to him. Now, in the rematch, Belal was like, I'm not going to go in there and just back up because you're going to beat me. So what did Belal do? He chased him down in the first 10 seconds. He gets him on the ground with the double leg. Off of pressure in the boxing, then switching levels. JDM, he did the same thing. He came out the same way in the Leon Edwards 1 fight. I remember in my live stream, man, I said, what's Belal doing? Because I was so disappointed. I was like, dude, he's doing what he did against the Leon 1 fight. He was just backing up, and just giving him too much respect. And when Belal gives a striker too much respect, it doesn't matter if you're Leon Edwards, it doesn't matter if you're JDM, you're going to have a field day. If it was Buckley in there, Buckley would have had a field day on him. If it was Usman would have had a field day. If it was Ian Gary would have done the same thing. Trust me, it all would have happened. Shavkat would have done that. Anyone would have beat Belal, or like it would have been a war against Belal if he's fighting like that, just like trying to strike only, and it just didn't make sense to me. Another takeaway I had was JDM is really solid, chat. He's a good fighter, and he's better than I thought he was going into it. I knew he was a good striker, and I knew what he was good at, and I was right. Like I remember even my breakdown, I said he's good at the front foot when he's dictating stuff, but when he's not dictating stuff, he's poor. And my whole breakdown video, I said, if JDM's going to be on the front foot, of course he's going to win, but he's not going to be on the front foot. That's what I said. Because in my head, I'm really saying, like, Belal's going to go in there with the style he went against Leon Edwards. Like mixing in boxing, then forcing wrestling. And in the wrestling attempts he did have, chat, that people are saying he shot. He didn't shoot early, but like little later in the fight, when he was shooting, chat, he was shooting off the back foot. Like JDM would pressure him, and it would be a panic shot. Colby Covington did against Buckley as well. People don't know what a panic shot is, or like when you don't set up a takedown properly. They don't understand what that means because people don't really understand and follow the sport. But when you shoot a takedown off the back foot, or like sporadically shoot, like without setting anything up behind it, it never works, especially for Belal. Like Colby did it, Belal did it in this fight. But what works for people like Belal and Colby, when Colby, back in the day, bro said back in the day, back in my heyday when I used to watch Prime Colby, jokes aside though, he would mix in a lot of volume and then he would switch levels against the fence. Same with Belal against Leon. He would mix in a lot of volume, then you shoot while pressuring you. But since Belal was moving backwards, his shots were like panicky, and they weren't set up behind anything, which is why it was so easy for JDM to kind of like get up, like shrug him off. And people thought like JDM's takedown defense was so elite, but that's really not the case. Burns took him down because he would set it up with a strike and then take him down. I'm telling you, but like people are gonna see this and be like, oh my god, JDM's takedown defense is amazing. And his takedown defense did improve against the fence, but he's always been good against the fence. I said that he was actually good at defending takedowns against the fence. In the open, sometimes he'll struggle with single legs, which is what Burns was taking him down with. Of course, Belal was trying to go double legs, but he was just not setting it up. You can't go a blind double leg. Like, you just can't. You can't shoot up a blind double leg without pressure. It's just never going to work, So that's a huge takeaway for me, that JDM is solid, but, like, Belal was just not really Belal. He was at an off night. And then the last takeaway is JDM is the most beatable champion alive. Like, let's be real. Like, Pantoja, Marab, Islam, fucking hell. Ankalaev, fucking Aspinall, whatever. This guy's the most beatable champion, and it's true. People are going to hate it, but you're hating, but it's true. And a DDP, of course, is less beatable. He's going to lose probably his next defense. He's going to be he's going to be like a Strickland champion. And it sounds like I'm hating, and maybe I am. But like I said, he's solid and he impressed me, but this guy's beatable, man. We're going to have to see who's going to beat him. I think Islam's going to get him the next time they fight. I think Islam is next. We're going to have to see what the UFC does. I'm pretty sure they're going to do that. But, there's a lot of positive and negatives to take away from this fight. I do think JDM is improved. He's better than I thought, but he shook up the UFC for sure. Like, there's a lot of matchups now that I wasn't expecting to happen that's going to happen. And, we'll see how long JDM's reign is. A wise man once said, "Oh, what a reign, though." Talking about Sean Strickland, and we'll see how JDM reigns. And I have nothing against him, but yeah, I'm just disappointed in Belal. Like, this whole video, I'm just thinking about how disappointed I am in Belal's performance. JDM performed well. He fought like JDM. He didn't show me anything different on the feet. Like, he's everything I said he was. He's good at moving forward. Moving back. I'll be real. If JDM developed a counterpunch, he was sleeping Belal that fight. Like, if he knew how to counterpunch off of Belal's like explosive, like loopy, mistaken punches, when Belal would like lunge in there and with this like a flying jab and just his chin be on the platter, JDM would have slept him so bad that they would have deleted the footage. But thank God JDM doesn't know how to counterpunch. But we'll see how he does against like a Usman, Islam, Buckley, Ian Gary, even Leon Edwards. I still think Leon Edwards beats him. That's a hot take for the century. But there's so much. I just want to see more of JDM. I want to see him fight next. And great performance on JDM, not taking anything away from him. And Belal, brother, no dale, brother. But, that's it for me, bro. Let me know what you guys think down below. And God bless. 2, 3, 4.